here again. So I've been playing around with that mirror. I've had it installed for a couple weeks. I actually really like it. But before I get around to the features of it, one issue is it keeps resetting the time every time I turn it on. I have to long press the button for 8 seconds, which is a pain in the butt. So I'm just going to hardwire it with the harness that came with it. So one end is obviously the mini USB you plug into the actual dash cam. The other end here has 3 components. You have black, red, yellow. The red and the yellow have fuses on the end. So one of these here, I believe the yellow one is going to go to the constant on fuse, which I'm going to get more into that in just a second. The red one will be the ignition fuse, so only when the car is running. And this one here will get grounded to the chassis. So there's going to be a bolt down there. I just loosen it a little bit, pop this on, retighten it. It'll be grounded. And so more on fuses. The fuse box I'm going to be using is not the one in the actual engine compartment. It's going to be the one inside here to the bottom left of the steering wheel. Actually, mine is in this car down near the pedals. It's really hard to get to, really inconvenient, so it's actually going to take me a while, and it's probably going to hurt my back trying to maneuver through that. But there's a fuse box, and unfortunately my fuse cover is not helpful. This is actually it. So this is my fuse box cover. So it's nice that it shows the diagram and it shows you, the numbers of the fuse, but it says to check the owner's manual for all the rest of the information as to what each one of these is. I don't know where that's at. And in the Haynes Teardown and Repair Guide, it doesn't actually have, that list. So I had to go online and I found the list. Now, why do I have the 15 amp ones circled? These fuses, it's very standard now. Blue is 15. So 15, 15. So those are going to be the only ones I'm concerned with. Now, if for some reason the fuse blows while I'm driving, you don't want it to be something important. You're driving in winter, or something draws too much power for some reason, the camera's like, hey, give me 20 amps. It's going to blow that fuse, and whatever it's connected to, that's not going to work either. So you have things like the windshield wipers. Well, if it's in winter or it's raining, I want that to work. I don't want to have to pull over and replace the fuse and hope that everything goes well. There are a couple things here that you just shouldn't really mess with. The ones I'm interested in are going to be the fog lamp or I think the horn was the other one, because the horn should always work. And then the fog light should only work while the ignition is on. So those are the ones I'm going to be interested in trying to install these into. But just real quickly with fuses, it does matter what direction, and I'll use the multimeter to check. So this is a fuse, and basically the way it works is electricity comes in one end, out the other. Now, this one is a 20 amp. Amperage is current, how much electricity is going through it. So if you have 20 amps going through, it'll do just that, in one side, out the other. If it says, hey, I want 25 amps, it'll go in one side, blow the thing in the middle, and it won't, it'll kill the electrical connection. So that way, it protects your car. So because I want to test for 12 volt DC, I'm going to take this here, go to DC voltage, and you have a choice. I'm going to go with 20 since I'm looking for 12. So I said I wanted to use the fog lights and horn would be good choices. So first I'm just going to test for the horn to see if that one's always on. That could be the always on fuse. So I actually wrote here always so I can find it right here, horn relay. So that's going to be fuse 30. So then you take the panel and you look for 30. It's going to be this one here. So fourth up from the bottom right. That's the one I'm going to check first. Okay, so the fourth from the bottom right. So it's that blue one all the way on the right hand side. That's the one I'm going to test first. Now as you can see, each of those there has kind of, it looks like a white dot on each side. That's actually a metal contact that you could just touch the multimeter, the red tip of it too. The black I'm going to ground to some kind of metal. There are metal bolts and stuff all over this car, so unfortunately I don't have a cameraman today and the tripod won't fit and I can't do this one-handed, so I'm going to have to test that without filming it. So black contact here, touch to something grounded, and then of course the red one I'm going to touch to the tip of this one up here. So I kind of can't test it, so I take this and put it on one side of the fuse, touch it to the bare metal, and as you can see, 12 volts. The other side, where? got 12 volts. So that one should be the always on lead from that wiring harness. So that yellow cable, I believe, will be the one to go into there. Now the next fuse in question was the fog light. So give me a second to find out where that's actually located. Okay, so it's going to be above that one and 2 to the left. Above it, 2 to the left, I see that one. Let me put this in here. And you see the car's not on right now. So the one for the horn, you got 12 volts because that's on no matter what. If I beep the horn right now, it's going to work. But the one for the fog lights, if I try to use my fog lights, it's not going to work because the car's not on. It only works when the car is powered on. So as you can see, I keep just going back and forth between, well, you can't see it, but touching the red tip to either side of that fuse, nothing happens. No voltage whatsoever. So that's good. So now I've identified the 2 places I need to install it. So now it just depends which direction do you insert them. So what direction do they go in? Well, we just checked, by checking that there, it basically just determines if it's always on or if it's only on when the car's on. So now that we've identified those 2, which should be the right places, we need to determine what orientation. So I'm going to pull first off the horn fuse out without the car being on, and stick the red lead, keep the black one to grounded, so keep it to the bare metal. Use the red one, stick it in each end to figure out which one the power is coming through. That's going to be the side furthest from the wire, as I had said before. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to power the car on and pull out the one for the fog lights and do the exact same thing to that. And conveniently enough, on the back of my fuse panel, they have a fuse puller down here. So I'm just going to use this one, grab it, yank it. Okay, so if I put the black lead to the ground, I'm going to go in here to each side. So on the right hand side here, getting like 0.01 volts, which means that's not the side that gets power. Go to the other side, I'm getting 12.12. So the left side is going to be the side that the power is coming in through. So that's going to be the wire to that one is going to be, see, that's the yellow one. So the yellow wire will be going to the right hand side when I install that. And just as proof, this here was in there. That was the one for the horn, which is now out. So, see, nothing. If I put that back in there and hit this, or once I put that yellow cable in there and just put that fuse in, go like this, the horn will sound. So with the fuse installed with the yellow wire coming out the right hand side, like I had said, because the power comes in through the left, the horn should work. And as you can see, it does. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and turn the car on. So I turn my fog lights on. I'm going to run the black over to the grounded piece of metal. I'm going to try the red on both sides of that one fuse to make sure that that one will give me 12 volts now. 12. Test the other side. A little more than 12. So right now there is power going through it, so that's definitely the fuse I'm going to want to use. So I'm going to pull it out with the fuse puller here. Let's turn them off first. So I just pulled that fuse out, so right now my fog light should not work. I'm not going to test that. I'm just going to take this red, go in both sides. Let's do the left side first, or let's do the right side first. Right side gives me nothing, left side should give me 12. And okay, so where am I going to ground it to with this little black connector? Actually to the right hand side of the fuse box there's that little bolt, so I'm going to loosen it, slide that behind it, tighten it again. Oh my god. So after a long time in a very, very uncomfortable position, I finally got it attached. As you can see, I just slid it back behind that, because the nut and the washer looking thing there are actually connected, so you just loosen the bolt, or sorry, loosen the nut and slide it behind the washer, tighten it, done. So now I'm going to test it before I do anything. I'm just going to run this directly to the mirror, so that way I don't run all this cable for nothing. Okay, so you plug that into there, and let's see. So when I go into ignition, accessory shouldn't do anything. Forward once shouldn't do anything, but now when I go to on, no long press of the button to turn it on and off. So that there is, it's starting. So you can see I had to open the garage door a bit. Make sure if you're working in an enclosed area, you do that so you don't die because of the fumes. Even though I should have the other door open, but... So because I had tried this just once a minute ago, see when it powers on, I mean it's got the correct time now, doesn't keep resetting to New Year's Eve at 6 p.m. on some date far in the past. Usually it will pop up with a prompt saying, do you want me to go to sleep? And I will go to sleep if you don't answer in 10 seconds. Here you turn off the engine. Now watch this. So do you want to go to sleep? You could wait, or I just hit OK. Boom. Mirror goes to sleep. Now watch when I turn it on again. This is cool. It instantly turns on. So I just killed two birds with one stone. Now all I have to do is fix the backup camera, because that's over there and that's over there. So plugging in the correct camera should solve that. Let's see. So actually I'm going to test that backup camera fix in a different video. So I mean, as long as you know how to use a multimeter and know which fuses you should and shouldn't use for this, it's actually a lot easier. The past two cars to hardwire electronics, I had to drill a hole into the engine bay, like from underneath there, and run cables to the battery, and that's paid. This here you just run to the fuse box. So like I say, you just have to know which fuses to use, know how to use a multimeter. And that's how you hardwire a dash cam. Most of these are set up the similar way with this smart harness, because of the parking mode where if your car gets hit it turns on and records and stuff. So thanks for watching.